Boom, 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 baby. Happy Saturday to you. I hope you have a great Saturday and a great weekend so far. My name is Don Terrell, and I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say, hey, stories come in all shades, and I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. And if you're just tuning in, hey, you're in the right place. We normally, like I said last year, I would normally start out with the intro, but I wanted to try something different this season, and kind of start out live, like a monologue type of thing, get all that stuff out the way. But welcome to the show for sure. Hey there, no parking. Appreciate you tuning in as always and being a part of the show. You know the drill. Hop into the comments, say hey, so I can give you the shout out that you so richly deserve for sure. Also, make sure that you join the Facebook group community. It is growing. We are having a lot of fun, and we are always welcoming of new family members. So make sure you hop on over to facebook.com/groups/The Color of Motion and be a part of the Color of Motion family. We'd love to have you for sure. Also, I want to thank the sponsor for today's episode, Restream. Great multi-streaming platform. If you are streaming and have content that you're trying to get out to all your channels, Restream is a great platform to help you do that. It is the platform that we use to stream to all the channels that we go live to. So make sure you hop on over and check out Restream, and go ahead and get them if you are a streamer streaming out. What else? Man, oh man, oh man. Let me take that off. Mr. DeMille, appreciate you tuning in to the show as always, brother. I can't say enough that you are one of those diehard Color of Motion fans that I appreciate and love so much. Also, we got our store open, so make sure you hop on over, get you some swag. We have lots of great shirts, hoodies, mugs, even some iPhone cases, and constantly putting up new content or new products as well. So definitely want you to get you some swag. I want to see more people in some color of motion swag, just like the ones that you see on the screen there supporting the show. So hop on over again to thecolorofmotion.net/swag and pick you up something nice for sure. Also, make sure that you connect with me on my social channels here. I definitely want to hear from you, get some feedback on the show. Let me know what you might want to see, any changes you might want to see, or any guests you may want me to try and reach out and get. So any of these channels, you can connect with me there. Also, if you're one of those ones that would love to support the channel, help me to continue to bring great content to you, hey, I love a great cup of coffee. Who doesn't? Well, there may be some that don't like coffee. But buymeacoffee.com/Don Terrell, and you can help support the channel with any donation. It helps me, like I said, to continue to put great content out there. There's a membership that you can do for $5 a month or $50 for the year. Putting up private exclusive content in the membership for people as well. So please make sure that you support the channel. Like I said, we stream live each and every week, 3 p.m. Central, to YouTube, LinkedIn, the Facebook group, and on the website. But I always encourage people to get plugged into the YouTube channel. Hop on over, subscribe, hit the bell notification, give a thumbs up, comment on the episodes, because it definitely helps the algorithm and gets the episodes ranking there. So definitely want to hear from you as well. Plus, you're always able to check out all the other past great guests that we've had on the show as well. So hop on over again to, like I said, the YouTube channel and, subscribe for sure. Oh man, what else? What else? So much going on. So much going on. Like I said, season 3 got kicked off last week to a great start with our guest Charmaine. He just kicked it off. And so we're rolling right along. So with that, like I said, I think we can pretty much get this show on the road and get this train on the tracks. I think I broke something. I'll fix it when we get back. See you in a minute. Yes, we are back. And like I said, I hope you are as excited as I am about this episode. Like I said, he was actually supposed to be on in season 2, but some things came up and we ended up having to reschedule. So just super, super excited to finally get him on the show for sure. Again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and let's dive in because I'm trying to be mindful of the time difference for him, even though he just said he works late at night. So, but I'm not going to try and keep him forever, and I want you to join me in welcoming my next guest. My next guest is a self-taught 3D animator based in Lagos, Nigeria. He started his professional career in 2014 working in the advertising industry. And in 2016, he pivoted to the film industry, working on short films and proof of concepts. In 2019, he left to start his own company, Lotusfly Animation. They do service jobs for brands and produce their own in-house content. Please, everybody, help me welcome my very special guest and friend, Mr. Nurdin Momodu. There it is. So glad to finally get you on, man. Like I said, I've been working to get you on for quite a while, but we got you now, so I'm super excited to have you on, brother.
Nice to have me here, Don. It's a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Mr. No Parking welcomes you as well. Again, make sure everybody that you hop into the comments, because I want this, as always, to be an engaging show and episode for sure. I think I said last week that I'm going to be implementing within the next couple of weeks a call-in portion of the show where you can call in and ask a question of the guest. So super looking forward to finally implementing that. So with that, Nurdin, I want to know what was it that initially got you interested in animation? What was it that sparked it for you?
For me, I think it was actually accidental. When I always just loved animation growing up. I used to be a cartoon person, like Cartoon Network, Tom and Jerry, Dexter's Laboratory. I grew up watching those in the 90s. Like I used to watch so much TV that it used to affect my eyes. I used to have headaches, and I would not want to watch TV. But I never thought it was going to be a career. Really, I just felt like it was just always something that you should just do by the side. And I studied something else, sciences. My background is sciences in university. I studied microbiology,
Oh wow.
and I finished school. Yeah, I finished school, and I was jobless for like a year, and I never really saw myself practicing what I studied in school. But I always just loved animation. I was always watching cartoons, and then after a while, I got interested in 3D animation when Toy Story came out and a lot of them, and that was just the medium that spoke to me. 3D animation, and after school, I just decided I was going to pursue a career in animation, and that's how I got started.
Awesome, awesome. Which brings me to my next question of were your parents, I mean, how were your parents when, you switch from medical microbiology to animation? Were they still encouraging for you or was it, something that they, discouraged and say, well, you might want to just stick with the microbiology?
My Actually, in my third year in university, I wanted to drop out of school really because I wasn't having a nice time there. I wanted to learn animation. Then the only place I could learn animation I felt was cheaper was in India, but my parents couldn't afford to send me to India. My dad was actually in support of it, but he felt like, you're already your third year, why not just finish school first and then you figure it out. But my mom, on the other hand, she couldn't see the possibility of making a living off animation. And in the initial stage, she was against it. I had to really convince her that this is what I wanted to do. And when she saw how serious I was, I was constantly learning. I was obsessed with animation. She was the first person to buy. She bought me my first graphic tablet actually. So initially she wasn't, but she got on board. My dad was always supportive.
Awesome, awesome. So for you, you always had a passion for animation, but you were doing kind of microbiology and science. Was there a moment where, like I said, it was you have to make that transition to okay, I'm committing to animation. Was there a moment that you kind of thought or wasn't you were really hesitant about jumping over and doing it and whether you would make a living doing it?
So it's kind of like a very funny story for me. After finishing school, I was looking for jobs, and there was a place I did my industrial training. I don't know what you call it over there, but like after your 300 level, you do like an industrial training. We call it an IT, and it was in a lab in a laboratory. And when I finished university, I went back there to apply for a job. I did not want to do it, but my dad like really just pushed me and was like, "You went there for your IT, why not apply?" And the funny thing was, when I went for the job, I actually wanted them to not give me the job, really. So I went there unprepared. I made sure I answered gave all the wrong questions.
You go back to mom and dad. I tried. I give it my best shot.
And and when I left the place, I was relieved I did not get the job because I knew I would have regretted it. I would have never found fulfillment because
Yeah.
I never really saw myself as doing that. And when I was searching, because in my 300 level I wanted to study animation, but after a while I let it go, and I just it's one of those dreams you have and you let go. And after some time of looking for jobs, my dad now told me, "You wanted to learn animation. Why not learn animation now?" And I was really some like a light bulb just turned on in my head, and that's when I started doing my research. I emptied my bank account to buy myself my first laptop, and I went online. I started teaching myself, but to me, I just still felt like, what, I still needed a job because I did not feel like you'd make a living off this. But the turning point for me was when I attended like a very short training program. That was the first time I saw people do animation. Like I was like, wow, like that was like to me, it didn't really matter whether you could make money off it. Immediately I stopped looking for jobs and I just was, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. The very moment I saw people actually sit down and animate, that was the first time in my mind, like this is what I want to do the rest of my life. I just stopped looking for a job and I just focused on it full time.
Awesome, awesome. So, where did the name Lotusfly Animation come from?
Okay. Lotusfly was a name I came up with before I started animation because when I finished or when I was in school, actually, I used to draw, but after my university, there's something we call like the NYSC. It's like a mandatory service thing you need to do a year after graduation, and I was trying to like I was trying to find myself, and the creative way I could express myself was writing. I loved writing. I used to come up with quotes and then ideas of what of different stuff used to come to my head. And then I thought of the lotus flower. I checked it. It's a flower that is very esoteric, also very important, and I love the idea. It signified power, and then the idea of fly. I don't know, for some reason I just brought the two names together, and what it just signified was something that is really powerful, but also has creative freedom. So that's where the name came from. And when I decided to start my own company, it was just a no-brainer for me. Lotus Animation.
Awesome, awesome. Um, where I mean, you were just getting into it. Did you have kind of inspirations, kind of locally, or mentors, kind of locally that helped you, or did you have to kind of go online and kind of connect with people outside of Africa to kind of mentor you, or that?
So my case is kind of like really unique because compared to my peers here in Nigeria, I started out really late, and I learned from when I learned I started learning animation till I got my first job was 8 months. So in 8 months, after 8 months, I was able to get a job, and I was just learning on the job really. And everybody I came across was more like a mentor to me because I would ask questions. I learned from every single person. I just wanted to know everything, and so I wouldn't say I had one particular mentor. I just feel like every single person I've worked with throughout my time studying animation have just been mentors because I always had one or two things to learn from them.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always interested in because like I was telling you before the show, a good portion of the guests that I've had on the show are from over in Africa, in the continent. I'm always curious to find what do you see as the biggest challenge that or hurdle that Africa has got to kind of overcome for the industry to be as big as it is over here in the states.
The first thing, and I think it's a mindset thing to take some time because it's getting better, is the appreciation of for arts. When I see how people take arts in the states, it's a big thing. There's this value attached to art, but here in Africa, people still feel like art should be for free. They should have it for free, and they shouldn't pay for it, and you shouldn't spend that much money on it. Really, it's cartoon. That's what they're going to tell you. Like, this is cartoon. So I think that's the first thing. You need to take it as serious. Like, our music industry is really big over here, and it's serious business. And I think art, we need to be able to take art to be that serious. Our films and music are really big over here, and I think people need to start looking at the arts as something as serious as that, and that's the first thing. The second thing is we really don't have backing from the government because I see a lot of animation projects in the states and other countries in Europe. In Europe, they always have backing from the government. The
Yeah,
government gives grants and stuff like that at least to get them started. We don't have those kind of things over here. So if you're producing anything, typically it comes out of your pocket or how much you can raise capital. So that's basically where majority of challenges are. Then also the skill sets, having a lot of people that you can put on projects. We don't have a lot of them. It's starting to change now because more people are exposed to animation, unlike my time when I started out. But more people are exposed to animation, and I just feel like as time goes on, we'll have more people in the industry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, also, do you feel like schooling is another thing because you were just mentioning that you were going to have to, or you thought about going over to India, and I know a lot of creatives that I talk to over there. They go maybe to the UK or Canada or France or somewhere outside of Africa because I don't know is the education. It's a little better now because you got a lot of online schools that you can learn and really get good quality education. But as far as brick and mortar places, do you feel like that's another thing, or is it getting better over in Africa?
Oh yes, I think we don't have schools over here that teach people animation, and only a few people are fortunate enough to be able to travel out of the country and get that education. And that education is really expensive, so only a select few people can have that opportunity. There are a lot of people who are very creative but don't have access to that. So having schools here would really be helpful. So it's also one of the challenges we're facing, having schools that can actually really teach you and prepare you for the industry. They are far and few between. They're not much, really.
Yeah, yeah. And we're getting ready to take a look at some of Nerdin's work for sure. For you, what was kind of the biggest challenge in just learning 3D? What was the hardest thing for you to? Was there any one particular thing that was really hard for you to kind of grasp?
When I started out, really, I did not have mentors or anyone to really direct me on what to learn. So I'm a generalist. I had to learn everything. It's starting to change now because I see a lot of people who specialize. Maybe you're just a modeler or you're an animator or a rigger. People are starting to specialize. But in my own time, I couldn't really specialize, so I had to learn everything. And I really didn't have anyone that would show me the way. Where do you start from on your journey? So I had a lot of trial and errors. I made a lot of mistakes. I could have learned faster if I had like a mentor, but I never really had. So I had to learn everything.
Yeah.
And
Is there one particular discipline that you like more than the other? Modeling, animating, texture. Is there one thing that you like doing more than anything else?
when I started my career, I used to love animating characters, bringing them to life. But the older I've become, I don't know love it as much as I used to. So most of the time, I'm focused more on the lighting and the final look. I get people who can animate for me on my projects, and then I take that and then I focus on the final look, which is the lighting, the rendering, and making sure the pictures come out really good.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, when I first saw your work, I was just, like I said, amazed at one, not only the animation, but just the style of it and the look of it. And again, everybody, we're going to take a look at his demo work, demo reel in a little bit here. Um, what I mean, for you, what's encouraging about the creators that you're starting to see come out of Africa and just the hope for Africa in this industry. What's your kind of hope for it, and where do you kind of see it and going?
We're going to have a lot more specialists because that's the first thing I noticed. A lot of people are starting to understand that you don't have to do everything. There is a place for the generalists, and there are also a place for the specialists. Not everyone is meant to be a generalist, and a lot of people are specializing, and a lot of people, their skills are, they're now able to stand out on an international level and compete with every other artist out there. And also, the resources are available on YouTube. There are courses, online courses you could take right now. They're a lot cheaper than when I started out that they could take as well, that people are actually taking. And I'm seeing a lot of that. So I'm really hopeful that as time goes on, we'll have more skilled individuals who will hopefully remain on the continent, because a lot of people are leaving as well where they get jobs. But I'm happy that now that there's remote work, a lot of people can still remain on the continent and still be able to do remote work here as
Yeah,
well. So
Yeah,
That's
make it really viable and bring not only the talent but the education back to
yeah,
others looking to get into the industry.
yeah.
Mr. DeMille really loves your work. And
Thank you.
definitely, like I said, you're gonna love his animation work when we show his reel there, DeMille, for sure. Miss Maggie, appreciate you tuning in for sure, as always. Everybody just jumping in. We're having a great conversation with my friend Nurdin, 3D animator with Lotusfly Animations. Um, for you, what do you see as kind of the biggest misconception that people have about content coming from Africa and other places? Do you think there's people are kind of viewing it one way, and there's so many different things coming out of Africa?
So I'll say two things. I have just two things to say. The first one is, dealing with a lot of potential clients. Once they hear you're from Africa, it doesn't matter how talented you are. They feel like it's okay to lowball you. Oh well, you're in Africa, so you should be able to charge a lot less, and that's something that I try as much as possible to avoid.
Yeah,
The fact that I'm in Africa doesn't mean I shouldn't get paid as much as anyone else in any other part of the country, as far as I am, as talented as they are. So that's the first misconception a lot of people have about work coming out of Africa. The second thing is there is this misconception that any work that comes out of Africa has to, be old, kind of like old setting or village looking kind of setting, must be dirty, must look rural,
yeah.
animation of Africa. Yeah, there's some places like that, and there are stories that are tailored to that kind of setting, but that should not be the only thing that comes out of Africa. We should also be able to give out stories, futuristic stories, sci-fi stories, because I'm particularly interested in the sci-fi part of storytelling. I just love sci-fi, and that's what I just feel.
Yeah, no, I think I can't remember who said it. It was another creator that I had on, a guest that I had on from over in Africa. And I kind of asked him the same question, and he was saying, not everything is lions and tigers,
Yeah, right.
in the jungle.
So cliche, yeah.
And I
So
guess that's
cliche.
with, and we kind of, like I said, that's something that we're fighting with and struggling with over here is breaking out of those stereotypes and misconceptions of what creators of color, are doing and creating, because there's such a wide, vast spectrum of life and stories that we all share. Like you said, you love sci-fi and Afrofuturism is a big thing, and that's just a small part of, like I said, all the great stories that can be told. Is that something, like I said, uh, really kind of the stories that you're wanting to really dive into? What are some of the other stories that you would love to bring to life, or is kind of sci-fi really like the niche you really like to settle into?
I love sci-fi a lot, but not just sci-fi. I'm also really drawn to very emotional stories, particularly stories that make us think, deep stories that touch about our mental well-being, state of mind, and just life in general. I love those kinds of stories. I don't know why I'm drawn to them, but for some reason, I love those kind of stories that talk about mental health and what's going on upstairs in our head.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, there's so much more to us than just the typical things that most people think of. Um, for you, as a creator, and I gotta ask you because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and actually thinking about doing a talk on this as well. What are your thoughts on AI and just creating? Now you can pretty much type in. They're saying you can type in a prompt for a movie and get a whole movie out, or scripts or characters and art is really thing. What's your kind of thought on AI? Just artists that are using AI as a tool.
This is very controversial, so I also have to be very careful what I say about it. But obviously it's gonna I wouldn't say it's gonna, I think it has disrupted the art industry already. That's the first thing. And to me, I feel it's like a genie that's out of the bottle. It will be difficult to roll it back.
Yeah,
Having laws to check it is going to be difficult. I'm not going to say artists should not take advantage of AI, but the way it's being used right now is not the best way. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. But this is what I usually always say. There are two. Number one, um, while it is nice to have, this is just my own opinion. I
yeah,
don't think anyone has to believe it or not. This is why I'm just of the opinion that specialization is for insects. We are human beings. You should be able to do more than just one thing, because it's very easy to tie your identity to what you do. Like, oh, I'm a concept artist, I'm an animator, and that's something I try not to do.
yeah,
I will do whatever I have to do to survive, and that's one of the mindsets that we need to have if you're going to be able to, fight AI. Because if you're a concept artist and there is an AI that can do concept art, so what happens? Are you going to say you're no longer going to do art anymore? You might have to shift somewhere else. And I feel like, so not specializing is, it's a way to help. And secondly, I just think that AI cannot take away the
yeah,
human expression.
yeah,
AI can take away your how you connect with your clients. 90% of the times, your clients come back to you because of your personality. You're not the
yeah,
best artist out there. They've worked with you and they enjoy working with you. You guys have a good working relationship, and that's the reason they keep coming back to you. And so that is what I think AI would, at least for the foreseeable future, not be able to disrupt that human one-on-one connection that you have with your clients. And so those are just my thoughts on it,
yeah,
and I'll just
yeah. Well, like I said, I, these are my thoughts. Like I said, they're just my thoughts. I look at AI as a tool that it's just another tool for a creative to use in ideation, getting ideas, thoughts out. In some instances, as long as it makes the process for creators easier in whatever it is that they do, whether it be concept art or creating certain small elements or things like that, and still using it within a bigger scope of a project, then it's fine. I mean, Photoshop's a prime example, or Adobe's a prime example. They got an AI tool, Sensei. It's great. It makes the job of different tasks so much easier. And if you look at it as a tool, then I think AI is a great thing to help creators, to help make their process easier. Like any tool, there are always going to be kind of people that misuse it or use it the wrong way. I think we're still kind of, at least over here, working out kind of the legalities of, you know, people using AI and then claiming it as their work. I think the
yeah.
legalities of it are still kind of in the works. And like any new medium, it's going to take a while for it to kind of work itself out. It's kind of like the Wild West now. You got a lot of
Mhm.
people just using it and doing it and then saying, I created this piece of art when it's, really kind of scraping it. So it's still in its infancy stage, but I still think, like you said, it's a genie that can't be put back in the bottle. So how are we going to use it and make it beneficial, for everybody? For you, what's been the best piece of advice that's kind of been given to you that you kind of come back to, or that's really served you the best?
So I'll say two. There are two advices I've got. I don't know who was. I cannot remember where I got the advice from, but the first one is, when it gets really bad or really tough or really frustrating, remember why you wanted to do it in the first place. Always go back to that, because it always helps me, because sometimes the work becomes frustrating, and and it's almost like you're just tired, you want to give up. But then when you try and remember why you wanted to do it in the first place, it's really helpful. Second of all is, try as much as possible not to compare yourself to anyone. Art is subjective. What might look beautiful to one person is not beautiful to another person. I understand people trying to, like a lot of people want to work with companies or get into big studios, so they try to compare their work with other people. But the best way to grow and not have mental problems is to just grow at your own pace and not compare yourself to anyone.
Yeah. No, some sage advice for sure, and such amazing advice. I think that's, I tell people, the internet is kind of like a dual-edged sword in the sense of you can see people's work and get discouraged because you're comparing your work to what you see, and you don't know how long they've been working at their practice, but you let
Yeah.
that kind of discourage you. For what are some of the ways that you pull inspiration in your work around you? I mean, what other things do you do that kind of help fuel your animation, your inspiration for animation, and the things that you do?
I think the first one is I watch a lot of animation, and I'm selective with the kind of animation I watch now because I'm more busy than I used to, But when I love good fight scenes in animation. When I see good fight scenes in animation, I watch them. I love music a lot. I listen to a lot of Afro beats, and for some reason, when I'm animating, it's what I always have in my background, and it really influences my work. And movies as well. I watch a lot of movies and TV shows. That also influences my animation, and YouTube as well. I watch a lot of YouTube videos a lot, necessarily not about animation, but just random things. I love nature. I watch a lot of documentaries on nature. I love science. I have a science background, so I love science.
Yeah.
Meditation and African spirituality. I'm really big on African spirituality right now in my life, and so it's also a major part of my inspiration for what I do.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome for sure. Um, Everybody just joining in again. We are having a great conversation with my friend Nurdin, and we're getting ready to look at his demo reel. Uh, I appreciate that, Maggie. As always, subscribe. Hit the bell notification. Join us over in YouTube because, like I said, there I get a majority of people watching from YouTube, and at least there you're able to interact and see each other's comments and stuff. So that's why I always encourage people to hop on over to the YouTube channel and become a part of the channel for sure. Let's take a quick look at Nerdin's demo reel, and then we're going to come back and dive into a little bit of that.
She's my most compatible human type. I'm going to find her, and we're going to live with her.
Claude AI on line 4, begin reboot.
Awesome, awesome work. And like I said, there you can see the futurism that you and the sci-fi that you love so much, for sure. Mr. No Parking thinks it's an incredible animation, for sure. Um, uh, uh, for you, um, how do you hope to inspire like the younger uh, people that are getting into the industry over there, and what do you what would you want your kind of legacy to be?
Wow. I feel like the best way I could inspire the younger generation is by just doing. When I started out animation here in Nigeria, in Africa, I never really thought I would be able to make a living off animation. And animation has been a blessing to me. It has taken me to places, that's given me things that I only dreamed I could have. So I just believe that just by creating content and putting out quality animation out there is enough legacy for me. And my animation should mean something to pass a message across, to teach people things. That's enough for me. That legacy enough that when people look at my work and be like, wow, against all odds, against the problems, the challenges we face here in Africa, this guy was still able to put out good animation that inspires us. And for that reason, I'm going to push regardless of where I come from. I feel like that's the best legacy I can have.
Awesome, awesome. Do you? I mean, you do a lot of, like I said, service jobs and things for brands. Do you feel like it's still low as far as companies over there that you do work for, or do you do a majority of work outside of the country? Are there businesses over there that are starting to embrace using animation and motion graphics and that type of stuff?
For about 10 years, there've been companies here that use animation and motion graphics, animation a lot. For about 10 years, a couple of them, especially um, um, internet service providers and network, they use a lot of animation. But I started out, doing projects, doing jobs for companies here in my country. But as you grow, the funds are not enough. Your skills are improving, and your pay has to also improve. And for that reason, I started taking more jobs outside the country and just focus on the international market because it's bigger and it's limitless. The opportunities are limitless there. So nowadays, I'm much more focused on getting projects outside my country. You know?
Yeah, yeah. So, what are some of the animations that are out today that you've seen that really kind of caught your attention? I mean, there's a lot of, especially over here, there's a lot of new animated films, animated movies coming out. Have there been a couple that you've looked at and it's like, okay, wow, that's you wonder how they did it, and really was impressed with the quality of and the story of it?
Yeah, I think the first one for me was a long time ago before I even started animation, which was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball. Yeah, I think that was. Yeah, because of the animation style was really slapstick, very cartoony, and I love those kind of. It just reminded me of the 2D animations I used to watch when I was younger, Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes and all those kinds of cartoons. So that was the first one that really just got me like, wow, how did they animate these? Then the next one was Into the Spider Verse. The
Mm,
animation style, the rendering, the character design, the stylization. That was another major one for me. So those are the two major animations I would say. Other ones have been great, but those are the two animations that when they came out, I was really like, wow, this is dope.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, it's, do you see when you look at animation coming out of the West, or others from over in Africa see animation coming out of the West? What are your thoughts, and what is your uh, idea of the style and the types of animation that have come from the West?
Um, it's been great, obviously, because I've been inspired by a lot of them to, even trying to figure out my own style of animation. I got a lot of influences from there. But I think it's two things. The first one I've noticed, which to me I wish it could change and it's still changing, is the idea that animation is for kids.
Hmm.
So majority of the kinds of animation they create, they tend to be looking very generic, same style kind of because they're trying to play safe and obviously it's a business. So they have to cater to a particular audience. I understand that. But it would be lovely if we get animations that are not just for kids and also try out different styles. And that's the reason why I loved Into the Spider Verse. Also, Love Death Robot. Love
Yeah.
Death Robot was also because they played with a lot of styles. I would love to see more animations like that, but for excuse me, I'd love to see more animations like that, but more full movies, more full films and TV shows. And also, I was going to mention one of the animations I really liked was Arcane. Arcane
Mm,
style too was
yeah,
fantastic. That
yeah,
was another one that came out. I was really impressed. The animation style, the animation itself, the storytelling. I love adult animations. I want to see more of that.
yeah, yeah. Which leads me to the question: um, do you enjoy anime 2D style type of animation? Is that something that you would like to dabble in, or do you strictly want to stay in 3D?
I'm strictly staying with 3D. That's my strength. That's what I love doing. I started out drawing, but I never really worked on it and tried to improve on my drawing because when I saw 3D animation to me, I just felt like the possibilities were just endless, and I was drawn that way. And it's unpopular, but for some reason, I don't really like the anime style.
Yeah,
I'm not really a
yeah,
fan of it. I don't watch it. I don't watch it, and I'm not a style of it. But
yeah,
if it is a little bit westernized, like um, what they call this one, Avatar,
yeah,
I love those. I love watching them. But the main Japanese style, I know it's unpopular. A lot of people love anime, but I'm not really
yeah,
a fan of
yeah.
it.
What about stop motion? I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, but it's just amazing.
I, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of stop motion animation. Leica is my favorite. Leica is actually my favorite animation studio.
Yeah,
There is nothing that I don't watch. I watch all their YouTube videos, every single thing. I follow up on them. To me, it makes me when I see them make stop motion animation, it makes me feel like a kid again. That sense of wonder, having to hand create the clothes, having to animate it, the lighting,
yeah.
creating the environment. I wish someday I could just go to their studio and just marvel at what they do and all. So yeah, I love stop motion a lot. I
Uh,
wouldn't dabble into it because it's just not my thing, but
yeah.
I always support it when I can. I watch it once they're out.
You get such a, like I said, I don't know about you, but when I watch it, you get such a bigger appreciation for just animation because they have to move every little single thing and still
Yeah.
get the full emotion of the story. And like I said, I don't know if you've seen Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio,
Yeah.
but he also has a behind the scenes where they showed making it and stuff. And it's just when I watch people, stop animators post stuff on LinkedIn and they do the time lapse of them moving
Mhm.
it and all of that,
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, I love it, but I don't know if I would have the patience to do it. And I guess you have to be passionate about that industry.
If I was going to work in the stop motion industry, I would rather be a model maker, maybe create the characters, clothes, those kinds of those parts of stop motion. I love those parts. But seeing myself animating one frame, move the puppets,
Oh
that's not
man,
me.
and I don't know
Uh,
if you watch like the behind the scenes of the Pinocchio, you might question being a model maker because he showed because they had different sizes of Jiminy Cricket, and one size was like this small that they had to because of the way the scene was structured and animated. They had to have different
yeah.
sizes, and they created a stop motion character this small that they had to animate, and it's like, oh man, it's just like I said, you just have to sit and marvel at stop motion animators for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, everybody, like I said, just tuning in. Please jump into the comments, say hey and everything. Mr. No Parking, incredible animation. Yes, it was some incredible animation as well. Um, we kind of talked a little about this before the show, and we were talking about. I was telling you I was coming over to Africa is on my bucket list for me, and we were talking about that. Do you feel like African Americans would benefit greatly if they came to the country to just experience what Africa has and what our motherland has, and actually where we came from, connecting. And do you feel like there's a disconnect between Africans and African Americans? Have you ever felt like that there was a disconnect between the two of us, even though, like I said, we know we come from Africa?
Um, in a way, yes. Not okay. Not as much as, like, I'll give an example. I'm African, so I'll give an African perspective. A lot of Black Americans might feel like Africans do not like them. Contrary to popular belief, we love hip hop. We love a lot of the cultures that you guys have created. You guys have done so much for the entertainment. You've done so much, a lot. Your culture is dope. We love it over here. So that misconception that we do not like Black Americans, or sorry, African Americans, is false. I just feel like there's just a cultural difference. The way the African behaves, certain things we do, our culture might be a little bit different from your own point of view. And when those two cultures come together and there's a lot of ignorance involved, that's where you have lots of problems. But once you find an African American who is exposed and an African who is exposed, I think common differences is put aside. It will definitely be helpful for African Americans to come to Africa. Really, Africa is a continent. I like to say that there are 54 countries in Africa. It necessarily, you don't always have to go to Nigeria or Ghana. There is Tanzania, there's Kenya, there's Namibia, there's South Africa, and just coming to the land, it just gives you a different perspective. It lets you know that you have options and there are opportunities here as well. That you definitely not get over there in the US. Lands, businesses that you can start, different things. Just connecting with the culture and even the spirituality itself, because before there was slavery and whatever, our culture and our spirituality were tied together. But with bringing in the religion and all, it separated that. So just coming over to Africa and then speaking with the people, genuine people, not fake people or not people who are trying to swindle you, real people. I think it's a lot. It's going to do a lot more for you. It's going to open your eyes, broaden your horizon, and will make you want to travel the continent
Yeah.
because it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really
No,
beautiful.
I'm so looking forward to, like I said, coming over and visiting all parts of Africa for sure. What are some of the tools of the trade that you love using? Like I said, we're starting to see so many amazing tools starting to crop up for content creators that make it so much easier now for people to get into animation.
Okay. I still use the same software I started with, which is Autodesk Maya. When I was doing my research, I just felt like it was the industry standard, so I use it. Also, I have a motion capture suits. I use it for some projects, not
Oh
all
wow!
projects, but yeah, you have to invest in your tools. Then my
Yeah.
computers, I don't joke with my computer. I really invested in my computers as well. Then also Unreal Engine 5 is really it's a major part of my workflow. In fact, I've almost shifted completely from using other renderers to Unreal Engine. I just send all my work there because it's easy to iterate. It's easy to get feedbacks and it's real time. Whatever you're lighting, you're rendering, you're seeing, you're getting that instant feedback. So that's also a part of my workflow. And also nowadays, I tend to use Chat GPT a little bit for problem solving. There's some technical issues I have. I go there and then sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't help. I use that as well. Then even just coming up with like ideas, I use it. I necessarily do not just take everything, but at least just get like a general understanding or like like an outline, and then from there I tweak it to suit what I want. So
Yeah.
those are some of the tools I use right now.
Yeah, yeah. And no, like you were saying, which I haven't dived into yet, but I'm looking to kind of play around with Unreal. I think a big thing is it's free. You can download until up to a certain point, up to a certain earning point, it's free, which makes it so much more available. Like I said, you got great software out there like Blender that now gives the people puts really great tools in the hands of creators that can at least, like I said, before they may step up to industry standards, which Blender is fastly becoming, kind of industry. But I think it really gives people the opportunity and creators the opportunity to really create their own content. You know, Maya, while it's industry standard and a great tool, isn't quite as affordable for the individual or small studio to kind of get started in.
Anyone I know who just gets who is about to get into the industry and start, I always just advise them start with Blender, because all the 3D softwares, they are practically the same thing, really.
Yeah,
Same philosophy behind it. Once you understand one, switching to a different software is really not that difficult. I have Blender on my computer. I use it for a little things for here and there, but I just got used to Maya, so it's just the major tool I use now. But I could use any of the tools really. It doesn't really matter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So as far as your skill set, what are some of the other things? Like you said, you're using you're using Unreal and tools like that. What are some of the other skill sets that you are looking to hone and just get better at? I mean, are you say you did a little writing? Are you looking to do more writing and scripting out or that type of thing?
Nah, I do not like writing.
Oh, okay.
I don't like writing. I want to like improve. So my focus is improve on lighting because I'm pretty good at it. I think I'm good at it. I'm not great, but I'm pretty good at it, and I really want to be great at it. So it's something I'm trying to make sure that I'm really good. I just love making things look really beautiful, and I want to perfect that. And also the business side of my work, I want to be better the business side of it, because the first 5 to 6 years of my career I focused more on just learning the skill,
Yeah,
and now I'm at that phase, that point where I want to start focusing more on the business side of it. So when I get projects, I have other artists who I contract to work on my project. So I want to get really good with the business side of it. I'm lacking a little bit, especially doing marketing and handling so many other things. But that's one of the things I'm trying to learn and improve on.
yeah, yeah. Well, like you were saying, you were contracting out. Are you finding more and more creators there that you could bring in, or are you contracting a lot abroad, that type of thing? Are you seeing more creators start to get their skill level up to where you're wanting to do more bigger projects and other things? Is that a challenge?
Sometimes, but everyone I work with, they're all here in Africa. They're all here in Nigeria. Every single person I work with, I've worked with them for a long time, but at least 5 years. Most of the people I work with, 5 years or almost 5 years. So everyone I work with here is here in Africa. I need more animators. Like if I can get more animators for a fair price, I would definitely have jobs for them. But
Yeah.
right now, everyone I work with is here in Africa.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I just love the content and the creators that I've been coming across and building relationships with from the Africa, and it's just like I said, I'm so encouraged and enthused about just the stories that I'm starting to see, the creators and everything. So I can't, say enough about it. Everybody, again, just joining in. We've been having an amazing, amazing conversation with my friend Nurdin, 3D animator over in Nigeria. And I'm going to kind of wrap this up because, like I said, I try to be conscious of time and respectful of time, even though you said you work at night. My final question is, if you could stand in front of your younger self, what would be the one thing that you would tell yourself?
Two things. The first thing, I probably would have dropped out of school in my first year. First thing, I would have dropped out my first year. And second of all, I would have told myself, just trust the process. It will all work out. I worry a lot. I used to worry a lot about my career, where I want to be. I want to work in this big studio, but I'm at that point in my life where, my freedom is the most important thing to me. I just want to be free. I want to be able to be anywhere in the world and work, and not have to be tied to a desk or tied to any particular location. So tell myself just trust the process and just keep on learning. You'll find that's it.
Amazing, amazing thoughts for sure, and definitely, I think that's another beauty of this time that we are in as creators. You're not tied down. You're really not tied down to any one location or another, having to work for sure. Mr. DeMille, trust the process. Thanks for that. Really glad that you enjoyed the interview there, DeMille, as always. It's been such an amazing time. And like I said, I can't thank you enough, Nurdin, for, joining me and being a part of the Color of Motion family. I've just, obviously been impressed with your work for a while and been working to get you on. So I can't thank you enough, brother, for connecting with me in the first place. And then two, being a part of the Color of Motion family.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Everybody, make sure that you hop on over to the YouTube channel, because there you can connect with Nurdin, see more of his work. He's on Instagram, Time Tech Kids, Lotusfly Animation, Nurdin Momodu. You can find him. Check out his website, Lotusfly Animation. You'll be able to see all his great work there and connect with him. You'll definitely be inspired for sure. Again,
sorry, can I say something quickly? Sorry.
Yeah.
The Instagram link, Instagram.com/Nurdin Momodu. The underscore at the end shouldn't be there. There's no
okay.
underscore.
Let me quickly fix that. I don't know why it's there. Okay. But again, all this stuff will be on the YouTube channel. So make sure that, like I said, you hop on over to the YouTube channel. All these links will be over there. And again, you'll definitely be able to connect with Nurdin and check out more of his work for sure. It's been an amazing episode. Again, like I said, I can't thank you, the viewers, enough for tuning in. And again, I can't thank Nurdin enough for sharing a little bit of his time, his wisdom, and his knowledge on the show. And definitely looking forward to getting you back on, for sure, and checking out all the great work that's going to come from Lotusfly Animation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Please, again, if you could, Nurdin, hang out for just a minute in the green room while I close out the show. I'd appreciate it. But everybody, please, again, help me thank this very special guest, my very special friend, Nurdin, for coming on. Nurdin, appreciate you, brother. Hang out for just 1 second. Guys, gals, appreciate you there, Mr. Brown, for tuning in and checking out the show. Yeah, this was a great conversation for sure. Man, we're getting season 2 is on fire. And like I said, if you haven't been checking out the show, make sure that you check out the show. Also, if you know somebody that's a creative that loves animation, loves motion graphics, loves cartoons, comics, share this with them, because they will definitely get inspired, because I do. I get inspired by all my friends and guests that come on the show. It helps push me to be a better creative, and I learn so much, just like all of you as well. So definitely share the channel out. Get them to come over, check out the content, because they will definitely learn something from some of the people that come on the show for sure. Again, no parking, appreciate that for sure. I always try and make a great, it's a fun time. And it's really all about just having a fun conversation. So like I said, I appreciate so much the guests that come on and give up their time, especially the ones that are in more extreme time zones. So I can't thank them enough for sure. Man, oh man, oh man, the time goes by just so fast, and we are wrapping up episode 2 of season 2, or season 3. So, like I said, this month is going by just crazy fast. And so, like I said, we got a lot of great things planned for this season, a lot of great guests. So I definitely don't want you to miss out. Next week, make sure that you join us because it's going to be another amazing show for sure. We got Mr. Everard McBain, animator and co-owner of GEM GFX Animation from Trinidad, Tobago. I think Tobago. I don't think they say Tobago. Trinidad. So I'm trying to think. He probably will be my first Trinidadian on the show. He's really putting Trinidad on the map with the work that they're doing. So super excited to have Mr. McBain, Everett McBain on the show. So make sure that you join us next week because it's going to be fire for sure. As always, everybody, I appreciate you so much for supporting the show, coming in, tuning in, and all of that. Make sure you hop on over to the store, get you some swag for sure. My only ask is, if you do pick you up some Color Emotion swag, make sure that you take a picture of yourself with it and send it to me so that I can share it out on the show and on the social channels. Hey, like I said, I want to get everybody in some Color Emotion swag, and I want you to be a part of the family for sure. So with that, we are going to wrap up this episode, put a bow on it, and I will see you same time next week, same channel. Cheers, everyone.